Most people think reinvention is something that happens slowly, something that takes years of planning, trial, and error. Something reserved for a different version of themselves that doesn't exist yet. But that belief is exactly what keeps them trapped. Because the truth is, change does not come from time. It comes from decision. And most people never truly decide. They hesitate, they overthink, they wait for clarity, for motivation, for the perfect moment. But none of those things create transformation. Action does. And if you had only 30 days, no escape, no excuses, no second chances, just 30 days to completely reinvent yourself, you would be forced to act differently, think differently, live differently. And that pressure is exactly what most people avoid. But it is also exactly what creates change. Because when time is limited, you stop wasting it. When excuses are removed, you are left with only two options: evolve or stay the same. And if you choose to evolve, if you commit fully to these next 30 days, you will not recognize the person you become. The first shift: cutting your old identity. Reinvention does not begin with building, it begins with destruction. Because your current life is the result of your current habits, your current mindset, your current standards. And if you try to build something new without removing the old, you will always fall back into the same patterns. So the first step is brutal honesty. You look at your life without filters, without excuses, without justification. You identify what is holding you back, what wastes your time, what weakens your focus, what lowers your standards, and you cut it, not gradually, not partially, but immediately. Because every day you hold on to what weakens you is another day you delay your transformation. You reduce distractions, you eliminate unnecessary noise, you stop feeding your mind with useless content. And this is where most people fail, because they want change, but they don't want to let go. They want growth, but they keep their comfort. And that contradiction keeps them stuck. But if you are serious about reinvention, you understand that you cannot keep your old life and expect a new one at the same time. The second shift: building discipline through action. Once you remove what weakens you, you create space, and that space must be filled with structure. Because without structure, you will drift back into chaos. So you build a routine, not based on motivation, but based on necessity. You wake up with purpose, you define your tasks clearly, and you execute them without negotiation. Because discipline is not something you feel, it is something you do, repeatedly, consistently, regardless of how you feel. And in the beginning, it will feel unnatural. Your mind will resist, your body will look for shortcuts, your old habits will try to pull you back. But this is where the transformation happens. Not when it is easy, but when it is difficult, and you continue anyway. Because every time you act despite resistance, you are breaking the old version of yourself and reinforcing the new one. And over time, those actions become automatic. That discipline becomes your default state, and you are no longer forcing yourself to change. You are becoming someone who has already changed. The third shift: reprogramming your mind under pressure. Your mind is the control center of your life, and if it is weak, everything else will be weak. So during these 30 days, you train it like a weapon. You develop focus, you eliminate distractions, you learn to control your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. Because most people live in reaction, reacting to emotions, reacting to circumstances, reacting to impulses, but you learn to respond instead of react, to pause, to think, to act with intention. And this requires discomfort, it requires discipline, it requires awareness. Because you must catch your own patterns in real time. The moments when you want to quit, the moments when you look for excuses, the moments when you choose comfort over growth. And instead of following those patterns, you interrupt them. You choose differently. You act with control. And over time, that control becomes strength, and that strength becomes identity. The fourth shift: embracing discomfort as your new normal. Most people avoid discomfort because it feels unnatural, because it challenges them, because it forces them to confront their limits. But discomfort is not the enemy, it is the path. Everything you want exists on the other side of what you are avoiding. So during these 30 days, You step into it deliberately. You train harder, you push further, you do the things you normally avoid, not occasionally, but daily. Because consistency and discomfort builds resilience, and resilience builds confidence. But real confidence that comes from experience, from knowing that you can handle difficulty, that you can persist, that you can continue, even when it is hard. And that is what separates those who change from those who stay the same. Not talent, not intelligence, but the ability to endure. The final shift, becoming a new identity. After weeks of consistent action, something begins to change. Not just in what you do, but in who you are. Your standards rise, your habits become automatic, your mindset becomes sharper, and you no longer see yourself the same way. You are not trying to be disciplined, you are disciplined. You are not trying to improve, you are improving. Because your actions have aligned with a new identity. And this is the real goal of these 30 days. Not temporary change, but permanent transformation, where the person you become is no longer compatible with the life you used to live. And at that point, there is no going back. Because you have seen what you are capable of. You have experienced what it means to take control, to act with purpose, to live with discipline. And once you know that, staying the same is no longer an option. Most people will never do this, not because it is impossible, but because it requires something they are not willing to give. Consistency, discipline, discomfort, honesty. But if you are still here, if you are still listening, then you already know that you are different. You already feel that something needs to change. And the only question left is whether you will act on it. Because 30 days from now will come no matter what. The only difference is who you will be when it arrives. The same person with the same habits and the same excuses, or someone who took control, who faced discomfort, who executed without negotiation, and completely reinvented themselves. The choice is yours, but the time is now.